For over 3 decades, a small, remote Scottish island has etched itself into windsurfing history, producing the longest-running windsurfing competition in the world, the Tiree Wave Classic. And now in its 32nd year, the event continues to showcase the best and most extreme windsurfing seen in competition, attracting some of the best riders in the world to make the pilgrimage to this small island located in the Inner Hebrides off the northwest coast of Scotland. Left exposed, Tiree is often lashed by incredible North Atlantic storm systems. Fierce winds coupled with powerful swells often produce some of the best conditions in Europe for windsurfing. Getting to the island can be the first hurdle of the week for many of the competitors who travel the length and breadth of the UK, and some from abroad to experience this prestigious event. 24 hours before the event was scheduled to start, Storm Callum had engulfed the UK, subsequently keeping all ferries travelling to the Inner Hebrides tied up on the docks in Oban. Meanwhile on Tiree, those who made the journey earlier in the week, the island came alive, producing incredible wind and waves before the event, a perfect way to warm up and get adjusted to the unique conditions on Tiree. Storm Callum soon passed over, allowing the remaining competitors and event staff to arrive on the island. The fleets readied themselves for competition, as the Tiree Wave Classic was now set to get underway. The Tiree Wave Classic is one of 4 events that make up this year's British Wave Sailing Tour Championship. And after 2 events held earlier in the year, the title race remains wide open in all of the fleets, in particular the Pro Fleet, with several past winners of the event arriving in Tiree to once again battle one another for the right to call themselves the Tiree Wave Classic champion.
It's been an amazing year so far. We've had a fantastic event in Rosniger, and then we went down to the south coast, had the event down in Avon, and here we are in Tiree with a record fleet. It could be anybody's to take now. The championship. There's probably about 4 or 5 contenders here at this week's event. You could win and become a champion. So they're very hungry for it, and we're expecting a massive battle.
Yeah, I'm going into it leading, and I think that helps with my seeding, obviously in the draw and that kind of thing. So I came away with a 3rd from Rosniger. And then going into Avon, yeah, I don't know, it just kept kind of doing the same thing through the heats, just made sure I got my 2 jumps in and made sure I got 2 good waves, and it was always seemed to be just enough to keep me going through. I'm just glad that I did manage to win one of them, and it was the one at home, so yeah, happy.
Dubbed as the most competitive pro fleet in recent years, British wave sailing legend and World Cup sailor Ben Prophet was tipped as this year's favourite. Prophet, being a 6 times winner of the Tiree Wave Classic, was no stranger to the pressures of competition at the highest level.
Ben is very dangerous at competition. He's been competing for a long time. In competition mode, he's definitely one of the best there is. And as you said, it doesn't matter what the sort of conditions, he does struggle a little bit with the starboard tack jumping, but his wave riding always kind of makes up for that.
Obviously see Ben sailing throughout the year, standout sailor, but Tyree's always got a little extra skip in his step somehow.
I've got good memories from Tiree. I've probably won this nearly 5, 6 times now. I kind of fancy my chances every time I come to Tiree, no matter who I'm against. But there's a lot of good riders here this week. We've got Mark Parra here this year, Adam Lewis. You know, you give them side on port tack, they're in the top 5, top 3 in the world in those conditions. Ross has just turned up out of the blue, and as we know, Ross has won here before. Horrocks never goes away. I mean, there's so many to name. It's really open. You look at the draw, and there's no way you could pick a winner and be like, yeah, he's got it.
The level is high, there's a lot of really good guys here, so it's always good to come up and throw a spanner in the works, so we'll see.
It's a very special place, I think, for any windsurfers. Just the amount of different beaches, the golden sand, the blue waters. Yeah, it's a lovely place to be.
For many windsurfers, Tiree's allure is what brings them year after year to the island. Vast golden sandy beaches and crystal clear waters act as the perfect stage in Scotland to showcase the best talent in the sport. What makes this one of the most prestigious and unique windsurfing competitions in the world? The sword. Competitors fight out on the water for hours on end to at the end of the week have their names etched into a full-scale Scottish broadsword that carries the names of the past year's winners, appropriately named the Legacy Sword. Winners also get to take home a scale replica broadsword, a unique trophy and a fitting piece to remember their experience in Tiree.
I windsurf in a lot of different places around the world, and people always talk about the Tiree Wave Classic and they talk about the sword. Everybody wants to win the sword. It's the longest running event in the world. Everybody wants to win it, and it's a hard one to win.
You want the sword. Simple as that.
Personally, I think the sword is probably the best trophy you can win in a windsurf competition. Everyone wants a sword, so it's brilliant.
I'd love to have a sword, definitely want to have a sword. Ben's got like an old trophy cabinet at home with swords and shields and everything, yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to be going home with a sword. I've got an armoury at home I'm trying to fill up, and I need another sword to maybe put it in there.
Competitors gathered at Antalla, Tiree's local town hall, for registration and the official start of the Tiree Wave Classic. 86 windsurfers had arrived on Tiree to compete in their respective fleets: pro men's, pro ladies, amateurs, masters and youths. This year's fleet sizes saw a record number of competitors taking part, surpassing 2017's record-breaking year, a clear sign that the sport is growing in the UK, attracting not only newcomers but the sport's best athletes.
Officially welcome to Tiree Wave Classic 2018. Brilliant to see so many people making the pilgrimage up to Tiree this year. Absolutely blown away by the attendance this year. We're up about 15% of where we were last year, and that was record-breaking in its own right. Thank you very much for coming all the distance that you've all come so to support and attend the event.
With the competition officially underway, the fleets gathered at Ballavoulin Beach for a warm-up sail in preparation for the following day's first scheduled day of competition. With an epic forecast on the horizon, Tiree was set to deliver trademark conditions, big winds and big waves.
It's a bit of a classic Tiree morning, isn't it? Get here in the dark, you don't know what to rig.
It's pretty windy, it's pouring with rain. I think there's some waves, it's kind of hard to tell because it's still pretty dark, but I think we should be pretty on for competition today.
Yeah, it's pretty fresh. It's a nice early morning for it. Seems pretty windy. Fingers crossed we get some bigger swell pushing through the day. That's what the forecast is telling us.
It's on, it's very on. Just after dawn, we're up and running, trying to get sorted out for the first heat start.
With the first rounds of competition underway, the pro fleet were let loose on the epic conditions. Competitors would be judged on their wave riding style, execution and high-risk manoeuvres on each wave ride into the beach. On the way out, they would look to throw their biggest, best and most technical aerial tricks. The conditions challenged even the most experienced riders. Huge southerly winds with large waves allowed the early favourites to throw their biggest and best tricks. With a short window of 8 minutes to do their 2 best jumps and 2 best wave rides, the pressure was on to perform.
That's bloody Red Bull Storm Chase, that is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. 2 jumps, 2 waves, no real room for any errors, and it's so windy, errors are happening all the time, so difficult.
I'll tell you one thing, it is a short heat, and the PWA I think we do 12, 14 minutes, that's 8 minutes. It goes like, it's a lot of pressure out there, and there's like some little nuggets, and I'm not feeling so good, I've got to be honest.
Fresh from their World Cup seasons, the UK's own Adam Lewis and Spain's Marc Paré were soon sending warning shots to their competition. With an impressive arsenal of aerial manoeuvres and lightning-sharp wave riding, saw the world-ranked riders advance through the early rounds comfortably.
Okay, so we've got through the first round of the pro single elimination. A couple of big upsets today. Andy Bubble Chambers, who is the current tour leader, just got knocked out by local boy Scotty McDowell. Alfie Hart got beat by Mike Archer. The main favourites are going through, that's Ross Williams, Marc Paré, Adam Lewis, Ben Profit, and the Horrocks are going through as well. So it's all lined up for a really exciting final.
It looks something like this.
Yeah, so I made it through the first couple of heats that I was in, and yeah, conditions are pretty tricky, you know, there's visibility is hard. It's hard to tell exactly where a good wave is and you know, when to initiate the bottom turns and stuff, so I was happy with the way I sailed. I kind of did what I could do and kind of got a couple of pretty okay scores, and yeah, through to the next round, and it's a tough one, but I'm just going to give Steady Eddie a good old chance, and we'll see how it goes.
The UK's Ross Williams, a former Tiree Wave Classic champion and World Cup rider for over a decade, showed that consistency over flash would prevail, meeting the world number 11, Mark Paré, in the semi-finals. Williams' consistency in the air and on the waves proved too strong for the Spaniard, advancing him to the finals to meet fellow countrymen Adam Lewis, Ben Prophet and Phil Horrocks. The four-man Pro Men's final got underway in perfect conditions. Tiree Wave Classic legends Phil Horrocks and Ben Prophet logged some impressive wave riding scores early on, while Ross Williams took to the air once again. Spectators were treated to some of the best wave riding the Tiree Wave Classic had seen in recent years, a tribute to the calibre of riders that the event attracts. Prophet, Horrocks and Williams were soon usurped by the world number 6 Adam Lewis, the Cornish local dominating with huge double forward leaps and clinical wave riding that catapulted him up the scoreboard. Phil Horrocks edged out Ross Williams to claim third place, and with some of the highest wave scores of the competition, Ben Prophet took second, while Adam Lewis would claim the Pro Men's single elimination win.
Big round of applause for our men's winner, Mr. Adam Lewis.
Yeah, wow, chuffed. The flick this year is amazing. Everyone, you know, like, I think what was that? Our second heat was like stacked already. So wicked to watch. Everyone shredding. I'm chuffed.
The double elimination would give the Pro Fleet one more chance to take down the top seed Adam Lewis and claim the sword. Join us in part 2 for the Pro Ladies, Masters and Amateurs action from their single elimination rounds. Welcome back to the Tiree Wave Classic 2018. This year marks the 32nd year this event has been contested, making it the longest running windsurfing competition in the world. Competitors put their bodies on the line to showcase to the panel of judges their best wave riding and aerial tricks. And with the coveted Tiree Wave Classic sword up for grabs, this year's event was delivering incredible action in the early rounds of competition. The UK's Adam Lewis took the win in the Pro Men's single elimination fleet, claiming the top seed spot for the double elimination rounds to follow. As the tide pushed in throughout the day, conditions became extremely challenging, with the winds easing slightly and the swell sizes getting bigger. The Pro Ladies fleet would take to the water to battle it out. Plymouth local and 2-times winner of the event, Sarah Hilda, was looking to grab her third sword in a row, completing the hat-trick of wins in Tiree.
Yeah, we got 9 girls, I think, this time, so that's brilliant. Like, it's the most I've ever seen in years, and good conditions by the looks of it. But with our smallest sails, I got a 3-4.
With the conditions leaving no room for error, finding the right waves to ride proved to be crucial for the riders' scores. Devon local Sarah Callett logged some impressive wave scores in the early rounds, also showing her go-for-broke attitude with a scarily high bail in the semi-finals. Callett advanced to the finals where she would face her rivals Sarah Hilda, Rosemary Smith and Debbie Kennedy. Drawing on her experience from the World Tour, Hilda's wave selection and wave riding proved too good, taking the Pro Ladies single elimination win and the top seed spot for the double elimination to follow.
Of course, first away Sarah Helder. Very well done. Excellent.
I think it was pretty tough today. It was there were some big sets coming through, and the first heats I was stacked on my 3-4. So yeah, it was difficult. So kudos to all of you for sailing out there, and it was fun. So great competition. Thank you.
The amateur fleet is always hotly contested year after year, with the winner of the overall tour being invited to join the pro fleet for the following year. Some of Britain's up-and-coming talent had people turning their heads as they looked to impress. This year's AMS fleet attracted sailors from as far as Portugal. Tiree local Gavin Dunlop looked to use his local knowledge competing at his home beach.
This is pretty normal. The past month we've had a lot of this, although wind from the right rather than the left. So for me it's not my ideal conditions, but I'm going to give it the best shot. Rig small and go big.
Blazing a trail through the junior and youth fleets in previous years, Rory Somerville, at 15 years old, had graduated into the amateur fleet for 2018. Competing against much older and bigger men in the AMS, Somerville surprised many, bagging a spot in the finals against Miguel Centeno, Stuart Cowling and Luke Raystrick. The four-man final had countless lead changes, with the competitors throwing themselves into everything and anything. Yorkshire local Luke Raystrick edged ahead of the competition to take the win, with Rory Somerville in his first amateur competition taking a credible fourth.
Top marks to Luke Raystrick. Well done, mate. Excellent. Good lad.
Finally some wind, although it died in the last heat, but never mind. But yeah, great, amazing sailing. I'm surprised I got through, to be honest. But yeah, awesome.
With the wind and waves becoming variable and unsettled as the day progressed, board and sail selection became a key decision made on the beach before the heats. Some of the most experienced windsurfers in the event featured in the Masters division. With decades of experience, the 16 sailors took to the water, taking it all the way to the wire in majority of the rounds.
This is just one of the most beautiful places in the world. This is extreme windsurfing. I just love it. I just love it.
Securing their spots in the final were John McLawrence, Lee Pasty-Harvey, Mark Delson and Tim Laws. With some incredible forward loops and back loops being thrown in the 8-minute winner-take-all heat, John McLawrence got the highest score of the final to take the Masters Fleet single elimination win.
Well done to John McLawrence, winner of that division.
Quite hard look at, so I was all day been like 3-7, 4-2, so in the end we stuck to 4-2, powered up all the way. So well done. Well, good few heats, tiring though.
With all fleets getting a result from the single elimination, the organisers of the event wasted no time, seizing the opportunity to make the most of the amazing conditions and move into the next round of competition.
Okay, so we just finished the single elimination here at the Maze. Epic action. We're now moving into the double elimination. We're going to have the men's pro fleet to go again for the double elimination to decide who the champ's going to be in the men's, and the same in the ladies.
The double elimination rounds give those competitors knocked out in the single a chance to battle back and challenge for the title. As a bonus for winning the pro men's single, Adam Lewis automatically advances into the final, with his opponent still to be decided.
Historically, I've struggled sometimes with doubles, just because, like you say, you're coming against someone that's maybe done 2-3 heats, they're feeling, they're warmed up, they're in tune with the conditions, and you've just been sat on the beach getting cold. The double, there's some, like you say, some hurt egos, and the boys go big. Our boys and girls, everyone goes big.
Yeah, I had a pretty poor heat in the single. I'm hoping to do better in the second, and yeah, that's kind of my thing. I've seen to do it in the past. Hope I can do it again today.
Who knows? It's anyone's game out there. Fingers crossed it's my day.
And what you've got at the moment is you've got a really annoyed and upset Mark Parry, who's able to win this event really easily, but he's had a terrible first round. He's really psyched up and wants to come back and take the first place off Adam, win the sword.
For Andy Bubble Chambers, it was a chance to fight back into the podium positions. Coming in as the overall tour leader before the event, the Dorset local needed a good result in this event to hold his spot at the top. Chambers came out swinging in the first heats, advancing to the one-on-one rounds where he had faced a determined Mark Paré, looking to battle back from his early departure in the single elimination. The two duked it out, wave for wave, trick for trick. In the end, Paré's technical riding proved too difficult for Chambers, advancing the Spaniard through.
It was hard, to be honest. I was a bit underpowered on 4.7 because before I rigged 4.7 because I saw it was dropping, but it dropped a bit too much, so didn't sell my best, but yeah, not too bad either. So.
After a finals finish in the single, Ross Williams had his hands full stopping the charging Mark Paré. Williams' consistent scores in the air once again suppressed Paré's aerial assault. However, carrying a low-scoring 3-point wave ride, Paré squeezed just ahead on his wave scores to advance to face Phil Horrocks.
Now it was so hard, I can start to feel all the hits, so I'm tired now. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep on sitting and pushing and see how it goes.
The two-time Tiree Wave Classic champion Phil Horrocks looked to have halted Paré's seemingly unstoppable form, matching him in both wave and aerial tricks. At the end of the 8 minutes, the two riders had hit a tiebreak. On countback, Paré narrowly edged out Horrocks by 0.5 points in their last jump, advancing him through.
I mean, obviously you hope for the best, don't you? But against him, you kind of know where you are in levels. And Stephanie's a very good sailor on his day. It's a very short period of time. Same for both of us. It is what it is. He did well.
After 8 hours of competition, it all boiled down to the next heat. With Paré's eyes firmly fixed on a final spot against Adam Lewis, the 6-time champion Ben Prophet stood in Paré's way. The two Simmer Pro Team riders went head-to-head in the early hours of the evening. Prophet's impeccable wave riding outclassed Paré's. However, Paré, with youth on his side, logged bigger and more technical aerial scores, taking out his team manager and advancing to the final.
Back's killing. I was just saying to him, give it the old man. He came through the double last year and beat me. I was like, at least give me one. Come on.
Hooray! What a comeback! I think we've been here before, have we?
But we're going to let it stand and it goes to a super final because Mark edged you out on the scores. So it's a rerun by default. Third place, Mr. Ben Prophet.
Thank you, thank you.
And after 2 heats, we finally reached a decision through the super final as to who is the double elimination winner for Tiree. In second place, Adam Lewis.
In the Pro Ladies fleet, rivals Sarah Callett and Sarah Hilda would once again showdown for the title, with Hilda coming out on top, taking her third Tiree Wave Classic title in a row. The island of Tiree once again delivered an incredible week for the competition. It was now time for the champions to come forward and etch their names into windsurfing history. And with another champion crowned, the prestigious Tiree Wave Classic comes to an end.